In that case, hey everybody, welcome to Steve Couper's podcast for aspiring real estate investors. In each episode, we connect with seasoned investors and subject matter experts that are going to help us on our journey. And today, I am super excited because for Steve Couper's podcast number 7, I have the profound pleasure of speaking with Lisa Elle. Lisa is the founder of Wealth Collective, the owner of Ellements Financial Group, host of the Money Makeover Podcast, which I need to look up, and author of STRUT, How to Kick Financial Assets in Sexy Shoes. What better title could there possibly be for a book? Now, I first met Lisa at while attending a social event in the Ultimate Savvy Investor Michael Ponte's group. Lisa was there as a guest speaker, and she was there to discuss financial planning. And this is a room full of real estate investors. And Lisa, your presentation silenced the room. Everybody was all of a sudden stuck there with their mouths wide open, paying rapt attention. I had to say that I was one of them. So happy that you've agreed to join us today as a guest on our show. Be the duck. So a big welcome out to Lisa Elle. There's so much more to financial planning than I'd ever considered. So I'm really looking forward to learning more with you. So before we start, did I capture everything correctly?
Yes, you did. Thank you so much, Steve. Great introduction.
Oh, good. So would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself before we start?
Sure. I'll kind of give you maybe a little bit of background of how I got into this because, it started at a younger age. I always kind of joke about the story about how my dad, he was, running the Calgary office for a Fortune 500 company. And one Sunday night, he would take our family into the boardroom at his office, and and keep in mind, this is in the 90s. Okay. So there's no cell phones. We just had those dot matrix printers with the little dots on the side. So, printing was a big deal back then. And he would print off a family budget, 10, 12 pages long, line items for our family to review. And I'm the oldest of 4 kids. So we would sit at these family meetings on a Sunday night in his office and go over these budgetary meetings for the family. And let me tell you, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. What teenager wants to sit around on a Sunday night when they can be with their friends? I won't lie, I got kicked out of those meetings. I got sentenced to the office for a timeout a few times. So I definitely come by this honestly. I hate the word budget. Even to this day, it cringes me completely. So now I like to call it cash flow planning because it sounds a lot nicer. The same way like a diet and budget, they all sound so restrictive. It's like, no, it's just like lifestyle choices. So that kind of shaped me for sure, was how my parents handled money, which of course for all of us, how our parents handle money has completely shaped us with our financial journey. But so that's kind of how I came into this. I decided at a very young age, I was like 17, 18, 19, around there. I took a stock trading course, an online stock trading course with my dad. This again was right when the internet, like AOL online, ding, 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 you've got mail, just came out. So, I mean, this is like cutting edge stuff. And I went into stock trading and got, very familiar with that. I wanted to be a stockbroker in New York City. Well, pretty soon, 2000 hit and there were stockbrokers jumping off the side of buildings, not joking, but seriously. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a lot of stress. I don't think I want that. So I kind of went the route of financial planning. I had a boyfriend who introduced me to my first financial planner when I was 18, 19. And I started investing in my first, mutual fund at 18, 19. So I kind of got into the industry that way, and actually then switched gears completely and actually went into life insurance. So, and I've been a financial planner for now 24 years. So the rest is history. But that's kind of how I got started in this game.
That's quite a story. I think I remember vividly the printers with the strips of paper or the dots on the side you had to rip off after you printed everything up.
Yeah.
I remember it vividly. Well, I got some questions for you today. I hope you'll hope I won't catch you off guard with any of these, but there's some things that I've picked up from you and kind of the one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you and wanted to work with you is because of the energy you portray. You know, you've got a very calm and yet reassuring approach to money, which I think is critical for people investing at all ages, and certainly for me. So I think it comes into mindset, you know, because I know that it plays such a key role for real estate investors. I'm learning this more and more, and so maybe mindset's something we can start the ball rolling with. You can tell me your thoughts on how mindset applies to your role as financial planner, and how you feel it works with investors that you're working with.
Well, I agree with you. I actually think mindset is everything. More so now, like just kind of veering off that just a teeny bit, but more so now as I've been learning and growing on my own journey, I've also realized it's mindset and how we hold things in the body, like the dis-ease in the body, which again, all comes kind of back to mindset, but like the somatic healing as well. Because let's just start by saying you have money trauma. I don't care who you are, you have money trauma. And what happens is we minimize that trauma for us, saying, well, it's just money. You know, it's not like someone died. It's not like, you know, someone is sick, you know, but the thing is we minimize it so much that we actually like hold these traumas in our body, and we all have them, whether someone, you know, I want to say nicely, screwed us out of money, or, you know, owed us money, or just money that was taken away, stolen from, all of it, right? There's just so many things in our past, how our, you know, things that were withheld from us, all of it. And that trauma sits within us. And it is also about like dealing with it, bringing it to the forefront, bringing it to your prefrontal cortex, becoming aware of it so you can then heal it. And so this also goes back to mindset, because, you know, let's be honest, these emotions, these feelings, these things come up around money all the time. Guess what? It never stops. Like today, you know, I was doing payroll, getting organized, you know, having my weekly money date, which is a practice that I love telling clients about, is like have a weekly money date with your money, you know, do things, learn about things, pay your bills, like really just, you know, get clear on how your money situation's looking. And I was doing my money date this morning. And of course, like panic sets in, like this won't change. And you know what? The more money you have, the more things you have to worry about, like truly, right? So this doesn't go away as you build wealth. This does not go away. These feelings are good. You just need to recognize them and, you know, say, okay, this is a feeling I'm feeling, acknowledge it and let it flow through you, instead of letting it just get stuck in you and like putting you in that fight, flight, or freeze, you know, position, which happens with money. Like I can't even tell you how many times, like if I have a client, say, like on my accounting side, like say if someone doesn't pay an invoice as an example, it's because I actually can see this. I mean, this is part of my intuition, part of my like gifts, is that I can see though the clients in like freeze. They're frozen. They literally, you don't have the ability to make a payment, to move forward, to like you're frozen. And this is preventing you, this is blocking you from allowing wealth and money to keep flowing through you. So, and this is the thing, we're meant to allow money to flow through us. We're not meant to like be the block and stop that energy from going, you know, and going back into the world and coming back to us, right? The loop continues. So I see this a lot. I see this with clients. I see this with just everyday things that are happening around me, the money blocks. And so part of that mindset too is just, and again, like mindset is key, like, you know, and I think really holding the belief, like being very, very conscious of what you are saying to yourself about money. Like number one, start there. What do you say to yourself about money? If you are having negative language around money, that is where you're going to start to manifest more of that and produce more of that in your life, right? And so it is kind of, you know, people always are like, well, you just can't manifest out of thin air. But the whole point is you have to be first. You know, if you watch any manifesting people, you have to be first, feel first, and embody first what it is you want to accomplish. And then it will come to you. It doesn't work the other way around. You know, anytime people win the lottery, you know, they say statistically speaking, 7 years or 7.5 years, they've lost all their wealth. We're talking, you know, 10, 20, $100 million. How do you do that? How do you do that? Well, it's easy because you aren't set and ready to receive that kind of that wealth. You're not programmed and you're not of the mindset to receive that wealth. So of course you're going to squander it. Of course you're going to like waste it away, right? That's the other thing. And like one of my first money graces, my first money beliefs that I do like to tell people is there is no such thing as wasting money. I think that was my first podcast I ever did, was there is no such thing as wasting money. I heard that from a gal in the US that I was following. She's like, there's no such thing as wasting money. And I'm like, that's so true. Start having that mindset. Like everything you've spent money on, it's taught you a lesson, even if it didn't, like, say, you bought something ridiculous and you're like, why did I buy that or whatever, but it taught you a lesson, and everything, is teaching us. And if you're from that mindset and being really grateful for everything that you have, like this is just like the takeoff, like the place where you're about to like blast off into like the full realm of abundance and everything that's waiting for you.
I think that's an amazing answer to that question. Oh my goodness. You've,
Thanks.
that's a perspective that I really like. The notion that you've got to be ready for money in order for money to be ready for you, I think is key, right? I really do. And I guess it ties into my next question. I've heard you say something to the effect that money is energy. Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. Like money, like energy is currency, right? Like literally currency. And it's the same as currency in our economy, right? So when I say money is energy, like we don't even touch money anymore. Like we rarely touch money, right? It really is energy. What you're putting out that will come back to you, right? I don't know if I have like, I mean, I know I have a lot to say on the subject, but I'm trying to think just how your energy is what you're putting out is going to come back to you. Going back to that mindset thing, that belief that money flows easily and effortlessly to you, that you don't need to work hard for money. And here's the thing, we are so taught, and this one was really hard for me. Like, in fact, probably one of my biggest money blocks, and I have no problem sharing it, is that I still have a belief that I have to work hard for money. Like, like I do a computer job essentially, like, right? Like, it's so different. Like I don't have boots on the ground anywhere, but it's still the feeling like I have to put in my time. I have to work hard. Here's the thing. You can't say, oh, you have to work hard for money. Like these beliefs are not absolutes. They're not absolutes, because guess what? Guess how else you can get money? You can get money from an inheritance. You can get money from a lottery. So right then and there, you don't have to work hard for money. So the truth is that is not a true statement. Just because I just disproved it by telling you that you can win the lottery and you can get an inheritance. Someone off the street can give you $1 million. That would be great. but like, that just disproved the fact that you have to work hard for money. So telling yourself that you have to work hard for money is a lie, is actually a lie, and completely counterintuitive to how I would say 99% of us have been raised, saying, work hard, get a job, like all of those things, right? So what if money could flow easily and effortlessly to you? What if, right? So it's not, sometimes it's really hard to actually believe those things. And you can't just jump. One of the keys to creating wealth for yourself is that you have to incrementally kind of almost nudge yourself into that belief. Like, in other words, you can't go from a belief where you've been trained, you're 60 years on this planet and you've been trained to work hard for money. You can't just flop to, oh, money comes easily and effortlessly to me. It does not work like that. That's too much of a disconnect in your body, right? And in your system. You need to start being like, okay, yes, it is possible money can come to me in other ways than just my job. Like you have to almost like increase your belief step incrementally till you can hold the actual belief of money can flow to me in large quantities at any given time for no reason. So like these are things I'm working on, but being aware of them is the first key to all of that. So that's where your energy starts shifting and you can really start allowing. This goes back to energy, is the giving and receiving. I guess I do have a lot to say on this. I'm like, I don't have much to say on this, but I have a lot to say on it. It's the giving and receiving. And the receiving is the allowing. And I say this to a lot of women because women are natural givers. We give to our kids, our families, like everyone. That's just what women have been programmed to do. Men too. But one of the things is like what we're all bad at is receiving. It is harder to receive. I find it's easier to give. I find it's easier for me to give a gift. It's easier for me to give something, give of my time and energies. It feels kind of like and this is again something I've been working on consciously for over a decade, to receive, and then to receive without strings attached. So I mean, these are all things that, like, if you are aware of your receiving block, that's another block that's going to block you from money coming in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. That's very profound, Lisa. Really profound. I was thinking my way. Envisioning myself on a couch with you there, as the shrink looking over me with a calculator somehow. I don't know how I got to that.
It's a whole new
Time.
line of work. Yeah.
Let's talk about time. People must come to see you at all steps of their lives. I can't imagine how my life would have been different if I'd come to see you 20 years ago versus starting this week. So is there a wrong time? Is it too late? Is it ever too late to come and see a financial planner? What's the best way to? I mean, if should children be taught through a financial planner as they're coming out of high school, or should you wait till you start thinking about retirement? I guess that's what it's all about, really, is setting yourself up for success in your later years. What's the right time? What's the wrong time? And what's the best time, I guess, to come and see Lisa?
Yeah, no, for sure. I do get a lot of people turning 50 or 60 coming to me, which is great. And just the time frame shorter. So we have to work harder on that money mindset. No, I had my first financial advisor at, I think, 18, 19. So there is no wrong time. I have a client right now who's 16 years old, who got a job at the swimming pool, and he's putting in, 50 or 100, but I forget. But, he's putting money away, and I'm like, good on you. Now, here's the thing. I have a 15 and 16-year-old, two daughters, and they don't listen to me. Shocking, shocking, shocking. So I know you're shocked. So I'm actually going to be making an appointment with one of my best friend financial planners to be like, hey, listen, you're going to sit down with my daughters and you're going to be their financial planner. And I'll do the same for your daughters, because let's be honest, our kids just do not listen to us. So, but besides that, I think any age is great. Here's the thing. If you can get some very simple things running from a young age, it's creating those little habits, right? Like all those habit books we talk about, all those things where if you can just do that 1% every day, where would you be in 100 days kind of a thing? And that's the same with money and how it compounds over time. And that's the thing, is what I'm finding now, a lot of parents and grandparents are coming to me and saying, okay, hey, how can I help set up my kids? And that's actually one of the things I talk about with all my clients. I have a wealth generational program for parents to help, teach their kids. And let's be honest, kids learn by seeing what their parents do. They absorb it naturally. I'm not actually worried too much about my kids, because I know they see, and I do talk about it, and, they're watching, even if they choose to ignore you. But so it's teaching all these things, and being able to set up the next generation for wealth, and to manage it, and not just be dumped a whole bunch of wealth, but also to be able to take that wealth and then multiply it again out. Right. But what time? There's no right or wrong time. And I also want to say there's no right or wrong net worth. Now, there are definitely advisors out there who are like, oh, you can only talk to me if you have $500,000 or $1 million of investable assets. Great. Maybe they're not for you. I personally do not turn down any client, because my favorite clients are the 16-year-olds who are investing $100 a month, because it's exciting. It's fun. It's energy. It's it's my absolute joy to see anyone succeed. So whether you have a negative net worth, a $0 net worth, or a $10 million net worth, there is something there for everyone. And I would say find an advisor who wants to work with you, and independent, if you can. Independent, I think, is a big key word there, that isn't working for a large institution, like a bank, as an example. But I think any age is better than none. Because here's the other thing I want to say too. I have my oldest client's 95. We put structures in place for her at 90 that literally saved her estate a couple $100,000 of taxes, and just structuring, and lawyers' fees, and accounting fees. So there is no wrong time to get things structured properly, even if you are 90 years old. So
No, for sure. The way I think about it is I'm just stubborn. I figured I could actually figure it out on my own, you know. I'm able to actually manage my money, and I can see what I'm doing, and I put a plan in place, and it doesn't work. I'm like, oh damn. And I can't help but think I should have come and seen you sooner. Anyhow,
But you know
uh,
what? And I do the same thing, Steve. Like I 100% like am like, oh, I can do this on my own. Not money wise, but like I have a fitness trainer. I have like I have a life coach. I
right?
have a relationship coach right now because I'm dating. Like all these things I need help with because every single time I sit with one of my coaches or my, people who help me in my life, they always point out something to me that I'm like, it's so hard when it's us that we just can't see like what's really right there. And so it's just nice to have people on your team that like are really for you and want to support you.
It's true, right? It is. I'm learning to accept. I'm opening up.
Yeah, fun.
So let's talk about risks. How do you help specifically real estate investors? That's where I'm coming from. Investors balance their investment portfolios to help mitigate risk while still achieving growth. And does it change depending on where a person is in life, or is it all about the interaction with the individual and what their tolerance is? What kind of advice do you to impart with your customers to make sure that they're comfortable, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. With risk is an interesting question. I think half of it has to come from what your goals and intentions are with this money. But then the other part with risk is determining what the real risk factor is. Because for a lot of people, the real risk is actually doing nothing, is not investing in real estate, is not taking those chances. And I always say, if you haven't lost money, you're not even trying. Like if you don't have, two or three dogs out of 10 investments, then you're not even trying hard enough. So like failure, and I say that like in a very light way. I don't really believe in failure, but what you might think as a failure is actually, your biggest lessons, right? And so dealing with the risk side of of any sitting with a client one-on-one, I really have to see, okay, what are your goals? And have you built up that wealth already? Like, are you in an accumulation phase? Like, what phase are you in? The growth phase? Or have you made your money and now you're trying to protect it and preserve it and live off the income? So, if a client comes to me with like a pension as an example of like $1 million, it's like, okay, let's stream off just, let's grow that and just live off the interest and keep that pot of money, at $1 million every year. So that's an option, right? So it really just depends on the client, where they're at with their wealth journey and how much, their timeline. How much time do you have? Like, do you have 5 years or do you have like 25 years, right? That all makes a big difference as well. With real estate investors, the other thing too is how diversified are you with your real estate investments? I mean, diversification, I preach that all the time. Strategy, are you focused in on one strategy? One of the things I also like to say too, if you're in the beginning phases, and by beginning the accumulation phase, you're still building your wealth. I mean, let's call this a 20-year-old, someone who's just starting fresh out. When you're in that growth phase, you can take on a lot more risk. And it's just so important to be aware of not so much the risk that you're taking, but um, focusing in on one strategy. Because what I see, and one of the other biggest, let's call it risks to your wealth, I think is being too, I'm going to say it like it is, too scatterbrained, too all over the place, too not focused enough on one strategy. I'm still a huge fan of get really good at one thing and then make your money at that one thing. Whatever that strategy is, get really good at it and don't quit on it and don't just dabble. Like I find the people who struggle the most with wealth building, again, my opinion, you can prove me wrong. I'm sure there are people who've done this well. And maybe there's like, but I don't think, for the masses, this is a true statement. But people who have focused on one thing, like think about it. Everyone who's famous is known for one thing. They're known for one thing. Like we always joke about like KFC, Colonel Sanders, he was known for one thing, like people who are famous are Warren Buffett, known for one thing, like be known for one thing is what I'm saying. That does not mean you get to diversify into other streams of income later and multiple streams of income. I am a huge fan of multiple streams of income. You can even have multiple streams of income in the one thing, but it's about really, I think, really excelling in the one thing to make your money. And then once you have your money, then diversify into other things with a diversified strategy. But that's kind of just, I think, some good advice. But I think what I'm seeing with, and this goes with real estate investors, this goes with a lot of investors, they're dabbling. And so I say, don't be a dabbler, don't be scatterbrained, really focus in on one strategy. And I say this in the REI world because there's a million different things. Are you doing private lending? Are you doing multifamily? Are you doing, the BRRRR strategy, whatever. But just really focus in on one thing, make your wealth there, become an expert, subject matter in there, and then your wealth will multiply in that one area. And then you can do other things.
Perfect. Because I'm noticing that there are so many distractions trying to lure you away from focusing on that one thing. It's amazing.
It's true because hey, you go down the real rabbit hole, which I do like every night in bed. It's so bad. But you go down that and it's like shiny object, shiny object, shiny object. And I'm like, oh, that would be fun. I want to do that. I want to do that. Right.
I'm a magpie. Here I go.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. For sure. Taxes. Everybody loves them, right? I can't imagine that you have anything more fun than doing my taxes every year.
Right.
Why do you? Well, thank you, Lisa. Tell me your strategy on helping investors with taxes, optimizing their tax strategy to minimize, I guess, liabilities and help them build wealth by not wasting money that they don't need to, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's in a nutshell, I can really sum this up to a couple of things. The biggest thing is the reason like our society historically is like, April 30th, drop off your taxes, get them done in one day, last minute, like everyone. Fair enough. We still have that problem. Society hasn't figured out yet that that's not a problem. Which I have, by the way, I just have to say, I think the CRA should like go like by your last name, like alphabet over months or something. Come on, we just need a better system than let's just dump everyone on one day. That's crazy. But besides that, besides me wanting to change the Canadian financial system,
You will one day, I'm sure.
yeah, I will. I will in the end because I will. I'll make a big enough stink about it one day. But I think it's important to have those conversations because what happens, like we do everything kind of, let's call it last minute without a lot of foresight. But then it's like, okay, say we just filed your taxes April 30th, May 1st, let's have a conversation for this year. Now that's, we're being proactive for your tax situation. We're not being reactive, we're being proactive. Right there. That's the key is if you can get into a proactive game, you will save yourself money. It may cost you a little bit more in that it's always like one of those things, right? It's like that there's this awkward period of time. It's kind of like going on a diet or trying to lose weight. There's like this awkward period of time where you're just not in the flow and you feel like, no, you're not eating chips and you're not eating burgers and it's awkward. But then the second you just break through that, and that's kind of like what I'm saying here about financially, is there's this awkward period of time. You may have just paid your tax bill on April 30th as an example. And then you start the new tax plan and you're like prepaying taxes as an example. And it may feel awkward and you're tight for cash flow and it's just this crunch. But once you get on the system, wow, then on the other side, if you can like make it through those awkward couple of months, just getting a new system in place. And it's the same thing, like the habit thing, like I was saying, same as with taxes, right? Get a few new habits, get organized, be proactive, make some plans. Once you get through that, then on the other side, it's smooth sailing, no stress about CRA breathing down your neck, or your accountant breathing down your neck, all of those things. So I say, like, go be proactive 100%. It will change your life. It will save you money in the long run 100%.
Okay, I trust you.
Yeah, we're going to be proactive. We're proactive.
I have one last question for you. I think, I think I have some insight into some of it, but I really want to understand your why. You clearly love what you do. I mean, it's evident, and it was evident to me the minute I saw you on stage. It's evident to me now today. What's behind all of that? What is it that makes Lisa love what she does?
I think it's because I didn't have a trust fund. I didn't have, I've never had money handed to me. That's one thing. I've never really been, like me personally, I've never really been supported financially. And that's not to say like I've had a great life. I have amazing parents, like they're there to support me. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like, I was never given the golden, horseshoe or had a job. I've always been self-employed from when I was 20. I cut my teeth in this industry. I made this way all by myself. Now, knowing what I know, next time in the next life, I don't need to do it all by myself. Maybe this was like a lesson I had to learn that, oh, it's easier if you, partner up and have people who support you and want to help you out with that. But part of this, and I think all my financial struggles, and trust me, I've had struggles, um, is that it gives me a better understanding of what people go through when they can't. I know what it's like when you can't pay your bills. I have had, and this isn't even that long ago. This is like, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. I had months where I couldn't pay my rental properties. Like I have 4 rental properties. I couldn't pay the mortgages on them for 4 months. I have been there. I have wrecked my credit score. Not like I've never been bankrupt because I can't be, but I've, wrecked my credit score. I've had financial hard times where I've had to, bust my butt for 3 months to crawl out of those holes, right? And just things that have happened, right? It's running a business too. Like that was also mostly business related at the time. So I've been in those situations. I know what it feels like. I know, and I don't want to feel like that again. And I don't want you to feel like that again. I don't want anyone to feel like that. So part of what I'm doing and what I'm standing for is that I want to show women, I want to show my kids, I want to show people that you can do this. You can do this, that it's possible for you to create wealth without having to, have a backer or like win the lottery or get an inheritance, right? That you can create wealth from scratch. And I think that's my biggest thing and my biggest joy is that it's possible. And it's funny, it's like you always up level your money game and you set a bar for the next level for yourself. And I think it's funny, like when you're really coming from a place of wanting to, you genuinely care about people and you actually want them to succeed and you want it to be a win-win-win for everyone involved. When you get to that place, it's not out of ego. You're doing it because it's like genuinely you're here to make the world a better place. So that's kind of my story. That's my jam on, like, I love what I do and I love people. And to me, it's about spreading love more than it is even about money. But the love is the energy, is the money, right? Like it all will come full circle back. So that's
Love
my
is
why.
the energy is the money.
Yeah.
There you go. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Lisa. I truly appreciate you sharing your insights into the world of financial planning here with me today. That's great. I really appreciate it. If people want to reach you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Oh, the best way you can follow me on Instagram, Lisa_Elle, or you can go to my website, elementsgroup.com. Everything is on there. You can contact me, my team. You can book a 15-minute free consultation on the phone and chat with me. So yeah, go to elementsgroup.com. It's ELLEMENTS group.com.
Nicely twisted the spelling there just to suit yourself. Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you once again. I've really appreciated this.
Thank you so much, Steve.
All right.